War II was a time when many people showed great courage and made sacrifices. Some of these stories are well known, but there are also hidden tales that time has kept secret. Charles Jackson French is one such unsung hero. His bravery saved the lives of his fellow sailors in a dangerous wartime situation. His courage was extraordinary, but his story hasn't been told as much as others. What happened to Charles Jackson French, and why isn't his story more famous? Let's find out. Charles Jackson French was born in 1919 in Arkansas to his parents Jackson and Louisa French. When he was just 8 years old, he learned how to swim in its waters. But sadly, his life took a tragic turn when both of his parents passed away, leaving him orphaned. Without his parents, he had to leave his home in Arkansas and go live with his older sister, Viola, in Omaha, Nebraska. Even though not many people realized it at the time, Charles Jackson French was destined for something remarkable. He came from Foreman, Arkansas, a place where racial segregation was a common practice. Despite facing many challenges because of this, Charles remained strong and determined. He refused to let the difficulties of life hold him back. Instead, he persevered and stayed focused on his goals, believing in himself and his abilities. Charles joined the steward branch of the U.S. Navy. During those days of segregation, it was one of the few positions available for African Americans. This marked the beginning of his journey, a journey that was tough but filled with determination. Charles French served on the USS Houston for 4 years and then returned to his hometown, Omaha. When the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, World War II began. Without hesitation, French re-enlisted as steward's mate first class and was assigned to the USS Gregory in 1942. The USS Gregory faced a tragic fate on September 5, 1942. The ship got really damaged in just a few minutes and started sinking into waters where sharks lived. After that, something brave happened involving Charles Jackson French, who worked in the kitchen of the Navy. During the scary time when the attacks were happening and the ship was sinking, many sailors got injured. Just imagine being hurt and in the dark while your ship is going down into the ocean. It's really not a good situation to be in. Luckily, French wasn't hurt much. He began gathering the injured sailors to put them on a raft. Even though there were still gunshots all around, French, a 23-year-old black man who wasn't allowed to swim with the white sailors during training, tied a rope around himself. Then, he connected it to the raft and bravely started swimming. It was a dangerous and courageous thing to do, especially considering the chaotic situation and the dangers all around him. Some other soldiers tried to stop him, telling him it was too dangerous with sharks around, but French didn't listen. French wasn't scared. He took off his clothes, had his friends tie a rope around his waist, and jumped into the water. Once he started swimming, he quickly came across some sharks, but he was more scared of the Japanese shooting him than the sharks, so he kept going. "Just tell me if I'm going the right way," French said. For the next 6 to 8 hours, French swam through shark-infested waters, pulling his fellow sailors to safety. He managed to bring almost 15 sailors onto a raft, saving them from the sinking ship. Historians note that 5 more sailors swam alongside French, rescuing nearly everyone from Gregory's crew except for 11 members who couldn't be saved. As the sun rose, a scout aircraft spotted the stranded sailors, and soon rescuers arrived to pick them up. They were taken to a military hospital for treatment. However, when officers suggested separating French, who was black due to segregation policies, all the men refused. They insisted on staying together with the man who had risked his life to save them. During those times, segregation laws meant that French couldn't even swim with white sailors during training. African Americans faced discrimination, being banned from swimming in public pools or beaches solely because of the color of their skin. But because of his bravery, Charles Jackson French got a letter of praise from Admiral William F. Bull Halsey, the boss of the Southern Pacific Fleet, and the Navy Cross, which is a big honor. After that, people started calling him the human tugboat, and everyone in the military respected him a lot. However, the only official recognition he got was a commendation letter in 1943 from Admiral William Halsey. The letter praised French's conduct, but didn't give him the recognition many believed he should have received. Survivors of Gregory thought he deserved at least a Silver Star or even the Medal of Honor. Despite his bravery, French faced racism during his time. When at a rest camp, he was told to stay in a segregated section with other black troops. His white shipmates from the Gregory, the same men he had rescued, stood up for him. This resulted in a powerful standoff that showcased unity overcoming racial boundaries. Charles Jackson French was a brave and caring person who always put others before himself. He was strong and never gave up, especially when it came to helping his friends. His story shows how determined people can be even in hard times. Even though he didn't get the praise he deserved, everyone still remembers him for his bravery. He is a reminder that courage doesn't have a color. Even though he didn't get a lot of recognition, people still talked about Charles Jackson French. He went to different events like a football game at Creighton University in 1942 with his sister. People in the black press wrote about him and even made a comic strip about his adventures. There were trading cards about World War II, and French was the only featured African American person on them issued by GUM Incorporated. After his service on the USS Gregory, French continued working diligently. He returned to his job in the kitchen, serving on both the USS Endicott and the USS Frankfurt. However, when the war came to an end, French faded from the public eye. Information about him became scarce, and according to Black Past, he faced challenges with alcoholism and depression. Tragically, Charles Jackson French's life came to an untimely end on November 7, 1956 in San Diego, California. He was only 37 years old at the time of his passing. Recently, there has been an effort to remember a hero who was forgotten for a long time. In April 2021, the International Swimming Hall of Fame talked about French, making people aware of his story again. Then, a year later, Rear Admiral Charles Brown, who works for the Navy, gave a special medal called the Navy and Marine Corps Medal to 8 of French's relatives. This medal is similar to the one given to John F. Kennedy, even though French was not alive to receive it. It's a way of honoring French's bravery during World War II. French is now getting the recognition he missed when he was alive. On January 10, 2024, Secretary of the Navy Carlos Del Toro said that a new ship will be named after French. This ship will be the Navy's 91st Arleigh Burke-class destroyer. There's also a training pool at Naval Base San Diego named after him, and in his hometown of Omaha, there's a post office carrying his name. Sadly, when French was alive, he didn't get the praise he deserved. His death was not even given much attention in the San Diego press. But now, after more than 6 decades, people are finally noticing and rewarding him for his heroic actions during World War II. While we might not want to find ourselves in really tough situations like he did, life can still bring us some uncomfortable moments. Let's all move forward and assist others with the bravery and strength that Messman French showed. His name will always be remembered for the good things he did. We can learn from his courage and make a positive impact in our own lives. So, we can say Navy messman Charles Jackson French is a hidden hero of World War II, much like many African Americans who served during that time. His bravery and toughness showcase the best in people, even when things aren't going well. Charles Jackson French's story deserves more recognition, shedding light on the heroism of African American soldiers. If you enjoy this content, consider subscribing to our channel for more inspiring stories and historical insights.